I don't really know which.
Yeah, let me help you.
Yeah, it's really nice to read with you guys and to read here. So I'm going to read the first scene of a play called Cinema Trip of the Zombies, the plot of which is explained in the first couple of lines. So yeah, I'll read as far as I've got. So the first speaker is called Radical Bourgeoisie, Masculine Singular, and henceforth will be called RB. This is a simple story, and we chant about zombies trying to go see a movie and being stopped by vampires, and so you know how we do our self-production. Your face comes through, aimer, between urine and death. You, audience, the grand subject. In love to you, I do this for your breath. So the simple story will be simple and sung by the verse, singing of natural problems of this representation, the car of what we aren't. And in the past, we have chanted a song of lost history, and we chant, chanting for its new creation with labour. We chant, hell yeah, white pizza aim to live a white, which process hides part of alive, by losing and spending and keeping and saving five. To the power of it, in abstract non-relation, chant, middle class, value in hearing, in nature, works in part, value representation. Against, pronounced to rhyme with defence, pronounced to rhyme with against. Try it again so that neither rhymes with the other rhyme against defence. As many times as you want, many times to be as you go on wanting, because you don't just want them many times, you go on, going on many times, in light and spite of all the right sprite. You do not just want many times the rhymes, you want many times, but in broken many times. Pleasure of trash many times against defence. So you need to consume them again and again, and in the forest of glass, where we do our banking fast, where only cartoons shine through the bat dung, where my only face pushed out bleeds rent. Try it again, try it. Yet I, the whole radical bourgeoisie, on paper RB, throwing up with information sympathetically, yet I am glad I do not have all yet. But on the inside of being contemporary, can vet out an alternative history, spraying votes to blacken out the impossibility of the squelching grass where the money creatures make their huts. Like Dunn said, to obliterate out verse in submission to capitalist realism, the CPCCA can find the guts to pull out from under the rug the cuts, the experience of the life that's true, the racism that has codified some factual you, and how is it reconstructed but by making the dead blossom, not simply fried chicken, but really dead and weeping. What am I afraid of desperately? And I handed over $20 to stand against the life that ducks out of itself into the clear, pure water of the dreaming void. And in the arrogance that is maybe this you, Mr. Obama, or maybe this you, John Wilhelm, head of Unite Here, or maybe this you, Josh Stanley, 25 years old, or maybe this you, Pam Bondi, Attorney General of Florida in 2012, or maybe this you, Mullah Dowran, a regional Taliban commander in eastern Afghanistan who hoards his rhymes, information and experience like Americans do the natural fountain of dimes, including wisdom and sexual aggression. Or maybe this you who feign pregnancies in the middle of the night. Stop trying not to be alone when you are alone, or try to practice responsibility to the bone marrow is what it is, what the arrogance fancies it has by the pure gift of non-existence, which points the way to heaven through the starlit blackness of the bathing sheep, acquired naturally the self of another's eye, e.g. a Citibank debit card, and thereby gain for itself the submission of the other's inmost being. Anyone, it overlooks the inner rebellion of the other, having given enough to sorrow, looking into the garden where the pink concrete holds the pink blossom together, and brutal homelessness campily rises like a column of garbage, and personified arrogance wearing a North Face coat surveys what can be shown by the anti-darkness rays, the night vision of money, saving him or saving her from the sunny reality of the actual darkness, as he or she expresses the dream of law to save us all within its benevolent invisible paw, overlooks the fact that all restraint has been removed in the imposition of valuelessness, disrupting all the contact lists. Arrogance stands with a distorted face, sort of trying to whistle the police sirens he or she heard in his or her childhood days of innocent cruelty, on the edge of the pastoral abyss, where the sea disproves the magma underneath and notices only that today the sea looks like a toy, which he or she, without life or death, is able, weirdly, to annoy into non-existence, or the broken always already signifying bone, or the bad infinity, or corrupt imagination that rottingly endures in rotting alone. The century won't depart because of love, inhuman or human candy flossed, below or above. But if it gave me all in all, so that in the morning I would not call, all was but all of a moment, and then new commodities were created out of new women and men. New productive forces unleashed by the breaking of the gates, which stand to block him or her from what he or she waits for at the checkout, where the stock as a unity is maintained against me or him or her, with a toothpicky libertarian insured against homelessness because of inherited income bracket status miserdom. Because commodity love has not been vowed by the commodity, but by the hidden world it breaks off into and flashily provides with feedom, feeding it a food that turns it upside down and providing its consciousness with a fantasy of an empty pinball machine, in an empty bar, in an empty U-bend, of an empty forever. The ground is barren and toxic like the US Army. For me, the plants that grow there, I beg you or you not to farm for me. Truth is not baseless, nor is it the base, but it is the feeling which wraps around the waist, or is the waist, and there is not enough to pass with you, or with you to depart. Easily said and done to abstractly fry the heart, when in the night and in the day, inequality does not sing from the no birds or sprout like bad necessity from twilight, but is an idea based on the destitution of human life, in sickness and in health, whatever each will bring. I come to sing in breathless disloyalty of, crossed out, something wrong there. I come to sing in breathing disloyalty, crossed out, now something too wrong. On a breathing apparatus, I tell lies to you, and I am disloyal twice to the vacuum cleaning device of the word radical, which is here at the end of history, making the domesticity of liberal capitalism domestic. Terror surges in the light switch we don't touch, and on this breathing apparatus I surround the pot plants with syllables on disabilities, getting phonics assistants to hide their material. Again, spring has come again. Springtime is always a fun time at Denny's, crossed out, not right. Again to the infected spinal column. And nothing that lives is ash to me's, this here, and floats in naked love on the breeze of rotting wasps and exiled bees, that here, with different stagnating life venom ratios, and against itself, and each other again against, and the unalienated vision which my mind blends into a smoothie contains its own prison, the ends and beginnings of which I must tell, and my spring is wrong, and I must stand in the trash of its broken mattress, and I will not condemn this song, and I will not mutilate my life in choruses that splash about in the paddling pool of labour's blood, and I will show the internal condemnation of this song in speculative imperative sympathy for you, in the meek destitute heaven of thinking, a change in the relations of production, so that this song may end solvently ing, you know very well who you are, or should pick it. The intense inane bites down hard on dialectic, pressing on the details of how to rub on Vicks, to type up its non-release from infection, then printed in aromatic tar, leaving marks with teeth, an evil doctor who personifies MRSA, but who doesn't and who isn't like him laughing in the made-up abyss, and who isn't and who doesn't like him putting on now 180 for purposes of labour induction, eating humans with each wish, as I allow what happens to be allowed to happen. The experience of freedom is the experience of the appreciation of necessity, but how hard is the cap on? The rhymes will be to you impossibly dead, so they can still keep bleeding in your head. Now to scene one, set in the hospital car park far above heaven. There are two characters here. They're called Zombie In and Zombie Out. Zombie In. As I lay in my bedroom, I heard a voice from out of the tomb. Go see Iron Man 2, it said. These words have since haunted my bed. Zombie Out. The tomb to which we cannot go, beyond the angle of the show. The door of life and death pretends is given each. All joys in ends. Price pulls out a Twix. His lies are ones which managerially keep us surprised when the cuts stops his hibernation and starts his nationalised mutilation, when the Twix have petitions about communities. Zombie In. With all his shop talk of abysses, the West's decline, when what he wishes is to produce an untortured fantasy to keep disenchanted love fixed on commodities. Zombie Out. Sister and brother Zombie In, I must not feel like popcorn longing, sliced like a fungible shank of roadkill, destitute life of shambling consumer will. No, no, not forever accepted forever by us, whose locked off lives are deprived of pus. So illegally to the cinema, let's both take this rotting flesh we got from cornflakes. Switching the subject-object desire structure on the other side of the counter. Over the buttering of popcorn maintained, me wish removal of urge from brain. Zombie In. Impossibly beloved Zombie Out. Outside of a grave, humanity's best friend is to be reaffirmed to passion in disrupted choice thinking. Reconstituted meat can achieve no life less than its own, which is deprived of ness, continuing over the break in satirical fermentation. In I press desperately into my life. But, brother and sister, it is nothing to nothing. Pain. Zombie Out. In. Zombie In. Out. Zombie Out. Love, love, love unbegun. To see this fucking movie beyond the waters of the colder sun. I am commitment through what doubt is given me. Zombie In. I consume my life blocked off as it is consumed by all others, and I live only inside of its chains. Zombie Out. I will eat the hinges on the frame. Who will eat with me to create a life of love that never is the same, but yields to contradiction and the unsurviving pain? Zombie In. But do I really want to see this movie? And if so, how will we remove the blocks that deny the possibility of action within this non-ethos ethic of capitalism? Zombie Out. Your dream is trust funded, and capital made the movie, and unto capital it shall return in a ball of dusty shit, and it shall be us and them who do the hit of real and consequential action by developing militant watch and wait factions, or simply sneaking into seating we can't afford because we're eaten. Crossing the boundaries of the cinema, it is our responsibility to advance dialectics without fetishism, a chance to historicise money and its moves, ingrained in the trenches where it grooves. I am out. The city fades. With abstract nouns, I will invade. Both me and you, breakneck desire, biting down to make necks fire. Zombie in. I am in. The city glides. In sewage I cannot but abide. Inside myself. Fuck truth and fuck butter. Contingent desire makes me contingently a factory of fire. Zombie out. I want to pack speculative sandwiches so our eating doesn't pay out damages and submit in destruction to hiked up prices. I tarry with refusal while it suffices. Zombie in. But each fantasy does not enduringly suffice or last, even if it is how we make life. Bring us back to politics in morning light. Yes, homemade sandwiches concealed from sight. Have you peanut butter? Have you jam? Have you salad and have you ham? Sweet and savoury are blurring in the incense. I can no longer tell the difference between the parts of blood in my canals. Bread is more complicated than methodical cleansing of the moral system. Tupperware is the objectification of givens. Zombie out. Zombie in. I'm shivering. And the fluctuation that survives in deadened contradiction seizes my frozen muscle tissue into new Swiss cheese absence. I am here and truly without passion, the shipwrecked half-life of commodities leperizing my skin. Across non-existence beams the potential for striking, and I have shaved off half my limbs. Match the cinema to starlight and the remasculation of the subcontinent through the atomic bomb. I will believe anything but can't continue. What is there to do? The song inside my disease is an emphatic derangement into progressive mythology. The stalking monster union chit-chat on the glacier, what the fuck, while breaks through community at the Fisher-Price Cylon Q, I am despairing in big yellow factory mutation conductor of our capacity to beat the vampires, even though the growth patterns of vegetation are a kind of consciousness, but you draw sex out on Fang with no life-death, electrocuting yourself instead of passionate. You arg, and I doubt with the stonehead that we can break in, with no passion. Is doubt how I make your dream mine, or is it the guillotine prophecy? Trust, reflected, does it endure? Or does it reveal the construction of the door? Zombie out. Oh, what would it mean to attack the possession of commodities without having changed the relations of production by any means on already? Will it show the wrongness of the lives that prevent life from itself? Take as much junk truth as you can, it will give you a cough out, your vampire virus, etc. The ritualized dance of human misery in the labyrinth, where the ancient CEO's mutant son, the property saurus, chases you, negates your hold on your labour. Might we shatter its myth, which will then be destroyed thereafter inside the till itself? RB. Their conversation becomes abstract, and they are rigidified for the denial by interrogation of basic consumer desire and the claimants after armatures beyond the life of Ken the worker. That's all. Thank you.